Hi everybody, Nathan Tarantula here, and today I'm going to talk about something besides horror movies, or horror stories, or Bigfoot encounters. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite forms of torture and execution, Scaphism. Scaphism was supposedly an ancient practice, which mainly was done in the Middle East, and is discussed primarily by Plutarch. Now, Plutarch claims this is a method of execution favored by the Persians. The Persians, what a wonderfully entertaining people. And this form of execution was especially entertaining, and it lasted a long time. This form of execution was usually reserved for the worst of the worst. It was done as an example, so that people who did things like, traitors to the nation, for example, or sleeping with the king's concubine, these are perfect candidates for Scaphism. Scaphism, however you want to pronounce it, is the practice of taking your criminal or a person that you really don't like and tying them down in a wooden boat. The boat is floating in some piece of stagnant water someplace, surrounded by all sorts of vermin and flying insects and critters. The criminal would be tied to the boat, face up, with their wrists and ankles lodged in small recesses cut in the gunnels. Therefore, their hands and feet would be technically outside of the little boat. Now, a second boat would then be placed on top of this first boat, creating a nice little shell-like structure, protecting the criminal from the harsh sunlight. Because you don't want him to get sunburned, right? That would be cruel. Now, this second boat had a hole cut in it. Now, in this hole was a funnel and a tube. The tube led directly to the prisoner's mouth, and it was positioned in such a way that the prisoner could not remove the tube. Right? He's tied down, wrists, ankles, probably torso, head, and neck. Severely restricted movement, with the second boat on top of him. So he's not going to get out, and he's not going to remove that tube from his mouth. Because that tube is essential for his survival. I mean, you wouldn't want him to starve to death, would you? Oh, no. So along would come the jailer, or the person who had the duty of feeding the prisoners, and every day they would shove a little mixture of food down this funnel, down the tube, into the prisoner's mouth, and into his gullet. The food was often a highly rich mixture. It was said to be honey and milk, things like that. Now, I kind of doubt it was pure honey and milk, because why would you waste the resources on a prisoner? Maybe they topped off a bunch of crap they were giving him with the honey and milk to help it all slide in. Because the honey and milk had a secondary purpose. The splashes around his face and would fall through the hole and get on his neck and his head and travel all over the inside of the boat, along with his own excrement, by the way, would attract all manner of vermin. Biting flies, mosquitoes, rats, mice, everything would like to get into the boat with him to consume each other, essentially. The flies get eaten by the snakes get eaten by the rats, etc., vice versa. It's got a whole little ecosystem going on in there, with his hands and his legs poking outside, wriggling, and every once in a while that fun would probably twitch too as the poor criminal was trying to shake something off his face, which was slowly being eaten by these insects, who would in turn lay eggs so their progeny would grow on his flesh. This would continue for as long as the prisoner was alive. Often weeks would pass before the poor prisoner succumbed to the rigors of the punishment. Oh, it's certainly a cruel and unusual punishment, right? But can you imagine the worst punishment? Is you're the poor guy whose job it is to go out, clean out these boats, and make them ready for the next lovely prisoner. Ah, yes, the Persians and Scaphism. Now you know something you might not have known before. I hope it makes you happy. This is Nathan Tarantula saying, have a great day, and watch out for those boats.